Go check it out. We're here with Steve Tempo, producer extraordinaire. Why don't you let him know what kind of tracks you did, man, and your contribution to the history.
What's up? This is Steve Tempo. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to talk about.
Talk about Boom, I Got Your Boyfriend, MC Luscious back
Yeah.
in the days, Heat Wave.
Ready? Get this. Let's just go in a conversation.
Okay.
I remember when I was in New York and I used to go to this one club up there, Country Club, right? And this is when I was politicking with Freedom Williams for CNC Music Factory and all that.
Yep.
When he just got let go. Anyway, I was in the clubs over there, and it was funny because every time they would play a Miami record from Luke or stuff, like the people were like going off in the club, but the streets would like totally diss the Miami sound.
Definitely.
And I remember hearing clearly on the radio all the time up there was "Boom, I Got Your Girlfriend," knowing that I left Florida with "Boom, I Got Your Boom, I Got Your Girlfriend," but I would listen to the radio in New York and it would be "Boom, I Got Your Boyfriend." You know, like who made that? You know what I'm saying? So was that how was that in that era?
Well, actually, Boom, I Got Your Girlfriend came about when I was at the Art Institute. And I was back in 88, 89.
Mm-hmm.
And I met up with this guy named Danny Spawn, a.k.a. Danny D. And I was introduced to his DJ back at the time, DJ Wiz. At that time, I had a lot of access to the studio. I was like, as far as the class goes, I was like the third person as far as like grades and everything. I was like one of the, highest scoring people that was in that class group. And so I was in good with the teachers and the directors at the Art Institute. So I was able to get that privilege of getting in the studio a lot more often than the other students. At that time, I was solicited by Danny. He wanted to get some samples. He had this SB12 back then, not the 1200. He had the one with the big floppy disk. And I had a what they call a rolling 909.
Right.
And he really liked that kick, so he came in the studio one day and brought the SB12 in there. And we talked a little bit, and I gave him some samples off the 909. And we started collaborating then as far as, we started talking about music. Well, one day he came into the studio, he had this idea, he was just driving, and it came to him, he was like, wow, Boom, I got your girlfriend. He said, just popped in his head, Boom, I got your girlfriend. So we got in the studio, he had some ideas as far as what he wanted to do. And I had some ideas as far as like the bass line and everything, the keyboard part. Long story short, we recorded the song in the studio that day. Danny has some connections with Beware Records. I really don't know anything about that label, but at that time, Heat Wave, the guy from Heat Wave Records in California, David Williams, was distributing for Beware Records.
Right.
And he decided that he liked the song, wanted to sign us, and brought us out to California. The song was doing pretty good. We toured out there a little bit out in California, and then all of a sudden, they decided, let's do a follow-up record with a girl version. We were looking around for a girl, looking around, trying out different rappers, female rappers, and I said, hey, wait a minute, I have a cousin. At that time I lied. I said, she's a hell of a rapper, blah, blah, blah. I gave the whole story, and, I described her. She's basically what everybody was looking for. So we took her in the studio. She couldn't rap. She couldn't rap. So we kept that a secret, but basically, crash course, we started writing the lyrics and everything, got on track. We actually had to record the vocals, and she actually listened to us, our voices, and memorized it. Went back in the studio, we laid the tracks on her, and that's kind of how it took off. And all of a sudden, that song did a lot better than the version that we did.
Yeah, that's what I know. That's what I was telling you the story about that, being in New York. I'm like, I know in Florida they were playing "Boom, I Got Your Girlfriend," but as I'm driving up, the East Coast, I'm listening to "Boom, I Got Your Boyfriend." But it's cool because you have a new artist here who's also a female, Temptress.
Hello.
And of course, Jog D just did a remix of, this is where we're getting at. Part of the Bass That Ain't Miami is about these new artists that are still using the sound that we were pretty much developing back then,
Right. Actually, Temptress, she's actually the younger cousin of MC Luscious.
Oh, get out of here. Yeah. So you get to play her story.
Exactly.
Right?
So what we're trying to do is a repeat version, but we're trying to do it better because, back in the day, when I was dealing with Luscious, there was a lot of scrupulous people in the business, so both of us got taken for a ride, and so now we're trying to redo it.
That's fun.
20 years later, I'm a lot more experienced in the business, and so we're trying to do it again with Tempers, but this time we're trying to do it right. And what we're trying to do with her, we're trying to reintroduce this dance theme, but bringing in a little bit of that old Miami style bass
Of
flavor
course. I mean, coming down to the subject of this whole story is that music is influential to pop music nowadays.
there. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why this is a very important thing for the new generation to know. You know what I mean? And for those who don't know, Temperance is local from around here as well. And that's the whole story. A lot of the talent came from these parts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it kind of scattered everywhere from here to Miami to Orlando to Atlanta and stuff like that. So it's like.
Right.
But Jock, anyway, on this remix, you're dropping some heavy ass 808, huh?
Yeah, you saying that like you surprised or something.
Jock's on Facebook, and I
Mhm.
kind of, I think we kind of pretty much met back through MySpace
Yeah.
back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and
Or maybe even through the Miami-based history and Yahoo, like when they were the group and they were doing all that with other producers, I was getting in contact with a lot of people through there.
right, exactly. And Jock used to roll with, and they're still good friends. Jealous J back in the day,
Mhm.
aka Jim Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and so I remember those two guys, and I remember all the stuff that they did with Cut It Up Def Records. So one day I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, we need a remix to the
Mhm.
song, and we need to have that that electric bass feel to it.
Right.
So the first person that popped in my head was Jock. He was like the first person that popped in my head just from listening to some of the stuff he did. And so let me
And here we
holler at
are.
him, and let me holler at him and see if he can put a spin to it, and bam, there we go.
Yeah, the song is badass though. It kind of takes me back to that. We were just talking to Pretty Tony the other day, and
Right.
it takes me back to that kind of feel with Trinier. Remember, kind of
Mhm.
that. It's kind of
Right.
remember that
Exactly.
the Trinier era and stuff like that.
And actually, also dealing with Temperance, I went back and kind of refreshed myself on Shannon, Let the Music Play,
Right.
Trinier, Debbie Dab, and such, just to get, just kind of go back and listen to those artists again and how incredible they were back in the day, and say, well,
Without auto tunes.
exactly,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and say, what if we bring that into 2011 and just change the sound just a little bit, keep some of that original flavor, change the sound just a little bit, and boom, put it out there. There's a lot of kids out there now that they're not too familiar with those artists, but back in the day, those artists had some incredible songs.
You'd be surprised. I mean, the kids that are growing up nowadays, their parents are pretty much our age, so it's like they listen to what we play at home when we're
Right.
cleaning the floors or mopping the floor when I am music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So it's like, a lot of kids know the stuff, but it's good to educate them
right,
about the history.
right.